Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Let's jump straight in, because every single year, thousands of digital product sellers lose their money in the exact same way. And it's almost never from creating a bad product. It's from picking the wrong payment processor. Choosing the wrong infrastructure can freeze your funds, skyrocket your chargeback fees, and literally kill your digital product business overnight. Today, we're going to fix that.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the digital commerce dilemma. 2, the 5 rules of processing. 3, the top 5 payment processors. 4, how to match the exact right processor to your product. And finally, defending against digital chargebacks.
All right, section 1, the digital commerce dilemma, and why digital is fundamentally different.
Think about it like this. When a customer disputes a charge on a physical t-shirt, you have a tracking number, right? You have a physical return process. But when someone disputes a digital download, like a course or an ebook, you have almost zero physical evidence to prove they actually received it. This whole no proof of delivery exposure, combined with instant global tax liabilities, is exactly why banks and processors automatically look at digital goods and consider them highly risky.
Which brings us to section 2, the 5 rules of processing, or the criteria that actually matter.
Take a look at this striking number, sale number 1. In the European Union, digital VAT tax obligations kick in from your very first sale to an EU customer. There is absolutely no revenue threshold, 0. If you're selling globally, your tax compliance starts the absolute second your checkout goes live.
Because of that, you absolutely need to understand this concept, the merchant of record, or MOR. When you use an MOR, they step in and legally act as the seller of your product to the end customer. They collect the money, they register for the VAT, they handle the U.S. state sales taxes, and they remit all of it to the authorities. For software founders and global digital sellers, using an MOR is the absolute key to avoiding massive international tax headaches. They absorb the liability so you don't have to.
Let's move to section 3, the top 5 payment processors. This is an honest breakdown of the big 5.
First up is Stripe. Now, it's the industry default for a reason. It's incredibly flexible, integrates with practically everything, and charges a standard 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. It's highly recommended for developers, SaaS founders, and accounts with clean histories. But here's the warning. Stripe relies heavily on algorithmic underwriting. If your refund rate suddenly climbs or you get a burst of chargebacks, their automated risk system is unforgiving. You can face sudden account holds with almost zero notice.
Next is PayPal, coming in at a 3.49% plus 49-cent standard fee. PayPal is honestly unmatched for buyer trust. Consumers just feel incredibly safe using it, and adding it as a secondary checkout option can actually boost your conversions by up to 7%. But be aware, their dispute resolution process is incredibly buyer-friendly. Because digital goods lack physical proof of delivery, PayPal will very often side with the customer in ambiguous chargeback cases.
Next on the list is Paddle. Remember our merchant of record definition? Paddle is a dedicated MOR built specifically for global SaaS and software. If you run recurring subscriptions, Paddle just completely removes the burden of international tax compliance. They handle EU VAT, Australian GST, and US economic nexus laws by taking on the legal liability of the sale. It's a massive operational relief.
Then we have FastSpring, another total powerhouse merchant of record. But where Paddle leans really heavily into SaaS, FastSpring is perfectly specialized for established digital goods catalogs at scale. We're talking downloadable tools, software licenses, and massive product libraries. They even have built-in affiliate management, which is a great bonus. The trade-off, their approval-based onboarding is definitely slower and a bit more complex for beginners.
Finally, we have Luqra. This platform sacrifices instant onboarding entirely to provide something super rare, real human underwriting. Your business is reviewed by a real person, not an algorithm, before you go live. If you're selling high-ticket coaching programs or private label rights, PLR content that frequently triggers automated bans on places like Stripe, Luqra is a complete lifeline. They prioritize account stability and human chargeback support over instant setup.
Let's just lock in exactly what we just covered. You've got Stripe and PayPal on the non-MOR side with lower base percentages. Then Paddle and FastSpring operate as full merchants of record, taking a slightly higher cut, around 5 to 6%, to handle all your global taxes. And finally, Luqra sits perfectly in that high-ticket stability slot with its custom pricing.
Section 4, Match Processor to Product. Finding your ideal infrastructure fit.
Because before you just default to a popular processor, you really have to answer this question: what are you actually selling?
Here is a simple step-by-step breakdown of the optimal pairings.
If you're selling ebooks, PDFs, or Canva templates, use Stripe, but absolutely make sure you connect a delivery integration, because Stripe only processes the payment. It doesn't actually send the file. Or just use Gumroad for zero setup complexity. If you're selling online courses, don't just bolt a processor onto a website. Use all-in-one native platforms like Teachable or Kajabi. They use Stripe under the hood but handle all the course delivery naturally. And if you're selling global SaaS or complex software, go straight to Paddle or FastSpring to lock in that ModTex compliance from day one.
Finally, Section 5. Defending against digital chargebacks and protecting your hard-earned margins.
Look at this tiny, terrifying percentage, 0.9%. Visa will classify your entire business as high risk the very second your chargeback rate hits just 0.9%. Stripe starts reviewing accounts at 1%. You have absolutely zero margin for error here, guys. You must actively defend your account.
So here are 4 proactive defense strategies. First, configure a recognizable bank statement name. You'd be amazed how many chargebacks happen simply because the buyer doesn't recognize the charge on their credit card bill. Second, display a clear, highly visible refund policy right at checkout. Third, enable 3D secure authentication on your processor. This often shifts the liability right back to the card issuer. And fourth, always keep immediate delivery confirmation logs. Timestamps of when a link was clicked are your absolute best evidence when a buyer inevitably claims they never got the download.
Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to chew on. Will your payment infrastructure break before your business scales? Because as the data from the sources clearly shows, the most profitable digital businesses don't just optimize for the lowest transaction fees. They optimize for total operational resilience. Think about your product. Analyze your global reach, and build a foundation that actually supports your growth. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.